Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Hansen, if you don't already know. And hopefully, if I'm not your hairdresser, I will be at some point soon. First of all, I want to wish you all a very happy new year. And I don't know how 2021 is going to start or end, but I have to say that I'm hopeful that it will begin the beginning and the middle and the end will be a positive, more connective, um, more unified uh, country. And I think that's kind of what we're all looking for. So, and I think 2020 has given us all a lot of time to think about what's important. I think a lot of people have reconnected with families, and maybe your family is driving you crazy by now. We've slowed down a little bit. We've learned all how to use Zoom, and it's been definitely a year of learning. So I have all these different conversations with my clients, and I was talking with one of my clients, and I thought I would share the same thing with you because as we move into 2021 and we look back at 2020, um, for me, I want to create more connection with the people that I serve and with the people in my life, my friends, my family, my children, and even with a higher power. I would like to have a much deeper relationship in my faith as well. So those are things that, and they're pretty simple, no losing weight, no, I'm going to be, making, X amount of dollars by the end of the year. All those things, I think health has definitely a thing that we all are grateful for, that we have our health. And if you don't, and I've known a few people who have had COVID, and if you don't have your health and you're fighting back from that, um, my thoughts and prayers are with you. But anyway, so I had this conversation with one of my clients, and I have it fairly often because if you don't already know, I do teach business consulting. I do business education, business consulting in my industry. And as of late, within the last couple months, I've been requested to even go outside of my industry and work with other artistic type people to help them build their leadership, build their business. And I'm really grateful to be able to do that. Um, and this client, we were talking about our kids and the online school. And one of the things that my son had said a couple weeks ago to me is that he felt like with the online school that it was okay. He's doing okay, but he's missing that reward. There's no reward. There's no like sense of self esteem that he's doing well. And it made me think about the chemicals that are in our brain. And our brain produces these chemicals naturally, and they evoke various feelings within us. And I think that it's really important to talk about as we move into 2020, because I really like to share with you this, and hopefully you get some knowledge, if you don't already have, of how you can move into 2021 having better connections. And that's for 32 years in doing hair. That's what I feel like I've done, is I've created really deep friendship connections with my clients. And what I do is I touch a lot of people, and a lot of people don't allow you, most people don't allow other people into like this space that we have. Like we have this invisible shield and we want people to stay away. Well, I come in to that shield and into your space, and I touch you, and hopefully I create a connection with you. Much more so, that's really honestly much more what I'm cognizant of when I do clients than, yes, I try and do beautiful hair. Yes, I try and do beautiful hair color. Yes, I try and do amazing haircuts and blowouts and all of that stuff. But what I really work towards is helping you to feel better when you leave and more connected and a little bit happier than when you came in. So I've learned about these chemicals that the brain creates, and I've also learned about them in leadership and team, how to create a team. And you can utilize this within your family. You can utilize this in this information within your business, if you're in management, with friends, with your children, whatever. So take this information for whatever you can use this information for. Okay, so when my son was talking about this lack of reward, this lack of like school really gave him that self-esteem that he had had before when he did well on a test, or when he got a good grade, or when he felt like he wrote a good paper and he had that feedback, that connection. And so when he was talking about that, I was thinking the chemical in the brain that the body makes is called serotonin. And serotonin is one of those things that we need. We need that serotonin to create a sense of pride in an accomplishment in the things that we worked hard to do. And sometimes we need those little pats on the back, and we need, the grade or the paycheck or whatever doesn't always work to create that serotonin. We need to have people celebrate us. When you go into companies, they have an employee of the month, you get your raises, you have your boss tell you you've done a good job, you have your team appreciate you. And it's this sense of celebration in your accomplishments. And in thinking about him in school and thinking about what's going on with our current situation in the world, I feel like that is a chemical that is not being produced in the brain that we really need to create a sense of like, we are connected to something greater than ourselves. You talk about faith. People get that in faith, that sense of like, I belong here, and they like me. And it's very difficult to do when you're on a Zoom class, or when you're in your office on Zoom and you're not connecting with people. And facilitators of various online platforms, such as me talking to you right now, it's very, very hard to pull that sense of pride and self-worth and a sense of belonging when you're just sitting here talking to a webcam. So I really I think it's really important to, as we move into this 2021, to focus on creating that serotonin. The other chemical in the brain that we really, really need, that I think that we're really, really lacking, is called oxytocin. Oxytocin is like the love drug. I think we've all been under extreme stress, and we, love the love drug. So what I can say is it creates this really deep sense of acceptance from another person, and this really deep sense of security when you have that oxytocin. So in a business, when I owned my business, I was pretty cognizant about creating that oxytocin, and that everybody bonded. It's that thing that bonds you. When pregnant women get closer uh, to birthing their child, their body naturally produces copious amounts of oxytocin. And then when you have the baby through the mother is also receiving that oxytocin. So when the birth happens and the nurse or the doctor puts that baby in the mom's arms, the two people, the mother and the child, have this oxytocin pumping through their body, and it creates an immediate bond, immediate love bond. And that's why a lot of times dads don't connect quite as quickly to babies and their children right away, and it takes a little bit more time because they don't have that same benefit that women have of creating that oxytocin and then giving it to the child. So if you've had a child, or if you've been in love, it's also, it's the sex drug. When you have intimate relationships, the body produces those copious amounts of oxytocin, and it gives you a sense of security and well-being, and being taken care of and being loved. And I think that's a really important thing, that as we move into 2021, that those are the two things that we really try and create for ourselves, but more importantly for other people, so that in turn, when we connect with people in that way, um, we ourselves produce those amazing chemicals that the body creates. So there's three other chemicals that I think that right now in 2020 we have been producing way too much of. One is dopamine. This phone right here is a dopamine producer. Every time there's a bing, every time there's a notification, every time there's a text message, it every time there's something that's almost, it's a dopamine is a highly addictive drug. So it's that social media, um and for younger kids, they'll feel a little bit lonely, so they shoot off 10 texts, and then they get that bing 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 back, notifying them that other friends have texted them, or that they've got a couple likes on their social media, or a couple comments. And what that does is that gives us that dopamine hit. It's highly addictive, but it's very fleeting. And another one is adrenaline. Adrenaline is created through exercise, but adrenaline is also the fight or flight drug, right? So I'm sorry, that's not the fight or flight drug, but adrenaline is like, if like we're in a dangerous situation, the body produces tons of adrenaline, and it gives us a lot of strength and this like superpower for a moment until the adrenaline leaves. That's why when you get hurt, your body produces a lot of adrenaline, and right away you don't feel pain, but you feel a ton of pain later because the body's not producing the adrenaline. It's a pain masker, right? So what do we want to do right now? We want to mask the pain and the sadness and all of that stuff that we sometimes are producing right now in this kind of situation. So we want to go out and exercise. We want to go out and, whatever. Some people are, maybe doing other substances. I hope not, but that that is a thing, and those things create a dopamine rush and an adrenaline rush, which they are highly addictive. Now, the one drug that the body creates is called cortisol. And this is a very, very, very dangerous drug to the body. And it is important to the body because what it does is it helps us deal with stress. When we're under higher amounts of stress, our body produces high amounts of cortisol to help us manage that stress. But if you produce cortisol for long periods of time, the one thing that it does is it breaks down the immunity of the body. And what do we want to do right now in this pandemic when there's a COVID virus that is, you know, that is, highly contagious, and some people get very ill? What do we want to do? We do not want to break down our immune systems. We want to limit our stress and limit the amount of cortisol. And also, when the body produces copious amounts of cortisol for long periods of time, the endocrine system starts taking over, and it starts working on other systems and robbing other systems, such as heart disease, inflammatory disease, high cholesterol, stomach problems, all kinds of headaches, all kinds of things. For women, it can even mess with your hormones quite a bit, actually. So I think that mainly what I want to tell you is she found this, and most people, when I talk about this, find this really interesting. And some of you may already know all of this that I'm telling you, but maybe just as a reminder that we want to reduce the serotonin, we want to reduce the dopamine, we want to reduce the adrenaline, and we want to reduce the cortisol. And what we really want to do is find ways to connect with other people and to create that sense of self-worth and belonging and love and security in the world today, however you do it. Even if it is just writing a letter to somebody, or picking up the phone and calling somebody. There's been a few clients that I've called over the last few months just to check up on them. Maybe I have called you, and just to show you that, just to connect with you in a little bit different way, to show you that I care. And that's part of why I even do all of these videos, actually, to help my community in some way, where we can manage through this situation that we're in right now. And I fully believe that we will thrive and come out of this with much more wisdom and knowledge. And but please connect with people, create that oxytocin and that serotonin in your family, in your children. Make sure to tell people that they did a good job. Reward people in some way. If you're working from home and you're a leader or a manager position, sending things in the mail, sending cards in the mail, sending gift cards to show your appreciation. These things are important things. Even just dropping off little things. One of the things that my son and I did is we made some homemade baked goods, and then we dropped them off on various friends' doorsteps, and we rang their doorbell and ran away. And they didn't know that we sent them, but it was really, really fun because there was a few people that was like, oh my gosh, somebody dropped off these, treats on my door. So these are fun things that make people feel loved, connected, and give a little bit of sense of belonging and self-worth. So I hope you got a little bit out of this. If you watched the whole thing, if you turned me off by now, that's cool too. And I hope to see you in the salon real soon in my studio. Um, and if you need anything, please reach out. Let me know. I am here to help you. I have lots of time on my hands, you guys. So just text me, email me, give me a buzz, and let's have a chat. If you need your hair done, let's figure out a solution that will work for you. I am open-minded, I'm creative, and I've been able to help a few people in the last few weeks with their regrowth and various different things. So I wish you all a very, very happy 2021. I hope to see you in the salon in 2021 really soon. And I love your family, love your friends, love your neighbors, and spread the joy. All right. You guys have a great evening or day or whenever you're listening to this. And I will see you real soon. Take care.